What's good, guys? It's Yeti here and welcome to a bit of a different video, bonus video for the second channel. I'm finally using the extra channel for something. I know it's not gaming related, and in fact it's not even edited. This is going to be a bit of a first impressions video on Revival, M's new album that dropped about 7 hours ago as of I'm recording this. 8 hours ago as I'm recording this. I want to give my very first impressions of it because, for those of you guys that don't know, I'm a huge Eminem fan, and yeah, I just wanted to give my first impressions because whenever I listen to an album, it always changes. My opinion always takes a while to form. So that when The Life of Pablo first came out, I didn't even listen to it at first because of the whole Tidal issue. When I eventually got around to listen to it, went on Twitter, did a whole Twitter rant, and I hated it. I went on a big rant about how much I disliked it. Run it forward a few months, I did an album, my favourite albums of the year video, and it was number fucking 1. So my opinions change on stuff, but I wanted to give my first impressions just because I listened to it and I've got a lot to say, and I wanted to get it out. I feel like there was too much to say in a tweet. It doesn't really fit on the main channel. I don't really have anyone to talk to who listens to M, like any friends that listen to M. My girlfriend would probably listen to me ramble about it, but I don't really want to put her through that. So I want to do a video, get it out there. Feel free to just whack this on in the background and listen to it, because it's just going to be in my face for 25 minutes is what I'm limited to, because I've no space. That's I have 25 minutes worth of space on my camera. I have a bigger SD card, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try and keep it concise. I don't want to stick on it too long because I'm gonna come back to it in about 2 months once my opinion is more solid, and then I'm gonna do a proper video that'll be longer, more thought out. There'll probably be like a real script and stuff, and it'll be edited. It won't just be me sat talking to a camera. For now, though, let's get into the video. I'm gonna start with, I'm going to go track by track, and I'm going to give my overall opinion at the end. I need to keep an eye on the time though. I'm going to start with Walk on Water. So first of all, actually, really quick, want to say, I've listened to it in full 3 times. I did listen to the leak, and I wasn't going to, but it came out at 5 AM my time, and I wouldn't have been able to listen to it properly and make a video on it in the time I had. So I listened to the leak. I pre-ordered it like literally as soon as it came available, so I could justify it. I've already listened to it once in full on play since it came out this morning. And I'm gonna listen to it a lot more, so I feel like it's okay that I listen to the leak. I can justify it. Kendrick said it's okay, even when the album leak fans still buy it for proof. Kendrick, he's got my back. He co-signed it. Walk on Water. So this is obviously the first single. I was actually into this one, so I'm gonna be really biased just because it's hard for me not to, honestly, with M. But I was really, I've got all the lyrics up on Genius as I'm going through. I was actually really into it because, feel free to check my Genius profile in the description, by the way, give me some IQ. So, Bad Guy, this was almost like the 4th verse of Bad Guy in a whole song. Like, I'm a sucker for the reflective shit and for like the introspective stuff, and this was basically that in like a whole song. I think the hook's really well written. I'm not the hugest Beyonce fan, but Skylar Grey did a great job writing it. I personally, I actually think that it's fine. It was really good to sing the Beyonce's part. Personally, would have preferred if Skylar Grey did it, but obviously being the main lead single, dropping it as Beyonce gave it a big, you know, popularity boost. A lot of people were listening to it, a lot of hype around it, so it probably would have been better for the album's sake to have Beyonce. But I do prefer Skylar's performance of it. Obviously, she was doing the live performances of it. I really like it. I think a lot of people didn't like it. It was a bit poppy. There was no drums, which I think doesn't really matter. I don't have as much to say about this one as I do a lot of others, and I've got 21 minutes, so I need to speed it up. But I liked it. I liked what he talked about. It was a great intro to the album, because obviously he's been gone for 4 years. So it's been 4 years since a proper solo album, where there's been loads of stuff in, you know, Shady.sr and the Southpaw soundtrack and all these features, Best Friend and No Favours and all that. But it was a really great intro to the album, because it was like, listen to this, this is where I'm at. It's like, you know where he's at going into it, and you know what he's been thinking whilst he's been away. So it just gives you an idea of where he is and what to expect, and I think it was just a really good intro to the album. I think in terms of, I prefer Bad Guy's 4th verse in terms of introspective and you know, reflecting on his career. But I do really like the way this one came out. I don't know, I like the emotional stuff, like some of the stuff, like the Monster's one of my favourite songs on the album. Like, I still get emotional over that shit. If there's one way to get me emotional, sit me in front of a computer monitor, put on the Monster video, whack some headphones on, and I'll sit there in front of it. You can motherfucking bet that my eyes will be ready to drop some tears, because that is the shit that gets me emotionally going. Anyway, Walk on Water. We all know Walk on Water. Everyone knows Walk on Water. So Believe. I'm trying to do this like really quickly because I will just talk for hours, and my next video is going to be scripted and it's going to be longer than this. But so yeah, if you want to hear like proper, fully fledged opinions, give it like a month or two for my proper video to come out. Believe in Chloroseptic. So I'm going to put these two together in terms of talking about them. Very first listen, I've already come round a little bit to Believe based on my very first listen. I was actually a little bit, well, not disappointed, but I wasn't really feeling them. I think Believe felt a little bit weaker. They just didn't grab me, I think. I don't know if it was like the beat and the delivery on Believe was a bit sort of dulled down. Not dulled down, but it's like slower and it's a bit simpler and stuff. And I think it just didn't really grab me at first. But I've noticed a lot of people that haven't really liked most of the album. Believe has been one that people have been pointing out as one that is good, though. I think maybe because it's like one of the ones that's like, it's rap. He's just rapping. Even some of the later ones on the album that are just rapping are got those rock influences, but this one's like rap. Same with Chloroseptic, it's a rap song. Obviously that was the one that was going to have 2 Chainz on it originally. And maybe that's why people like it, but I think the reason why I don't like them, not that I don't like them, but that I'm not as into them as most of the rest of the album. Like, these are definitely down there for me in terms of if I was to rank them. I think the reason is just because of that. It's lyrical, it's a lot of lyrics, it's a lot of content in the song, and I've only listened to them like 3 times each, so I need to... These will be ones that I'll definitely have more to say once I do my full video, because I need some time to listen to the lyrics, I need some time for them to sink in. My very first listen, I was going through on Genius and listening to all the lyrics as I was listening, because it had already been leaked for like a few hours by the time I was listening to it, so it was all transcribed. But I need some time for these to sink in. So Believe in Chloroseptic, we'll probably come back to. I wasn't hugely into at first. Like I said, on my 3rd listen to Believe, I was like, actually, I kind of like it a bit more than I did the first couple of times. Chloroseptic needs a bit more time, but we'll get there with those ones. Untouchable. So this one, I do have a bit to say about this one, which is unfortunate because I don't have a lot of time to say it. This one, a lot of people didn't like this, but I feel like a lot of the people who jumped on the bandwagon of saying that it just wasn't good, it was all over the place, it sounded stupid. A lot of people thought it sounded stupid. A lot of people it was really choppy. That was a lot of the general consensus of people who didn't like it. Honestly, when I first listened to this, now I waited up for this to come out. So this came out at like 5 AM. So I was extremely tired, like on the verge of basically being asleep when I first listened to this. And at first I was like, what the hell is going on? It's messy, but I kind of like it. Second listen, I was like, yo, this is catchy as hell. Obviously, I've listened to this one a lot more than I've listened to the rest of the songs on the album, just because it was a single before the album came out, same with Walk on Water. I actually think it does a really good job. I think if you really sit down and listen to it, that part 2 is like, it is really good. Some of the people say it's choppy in the rhyme scheme and the delivery's all over the place. You listen to just part 2, that's consistent. That's a good... If it was just part 2 and not part 1, and part 2 was maybe made into a whole song, people would have really fucked with it a lot more, I think. I think people didn't really get into it as much or give it as much of a chance because of the first half. The second part's really good. The topics it covers and the way it presents them, really good. I think it's really interesting the way he takes a perspective of a black person, essentially, in a lot of places. He's saying a lot of us. I think that's really awesome. Obviously, he's white, but he's always been around mostly black people. He's grown up in a rough neighbourhood. You look, growing up, all his friends and people in the D12 and all his fucking crew and all that shit, mostly black people. So he's obviously been around that, and he's using that experience to draw from, and presenting it to his big audience. There's always been this thing of like, Eminem's white, so a lot of white people listen to him that wouldn't necessarily listen to rap. A lot of those people have probably dropped out now because of the whole Trump thing, but there's a lot of people who got into rap because of Eminem, because, like he says in White America and other songs, like, I'm trying to do this quickly, people are naturally drawn to him, and so I think using this platform, because obviously there's loads of black rappers talking about this, but using this platform, I think he's got a really good opportunity to get shit out there in a different way. Obviously Kendrick's mainstream, and he talks about police brutality and stuff. The End of Blood, police brutality and stuff, and I don't know. I think it's just interesting to get this as the whole white America standpoint. The white person who's got this different audience isn't necessarily, even if they listen to Kendrick, they're not necessarily gonna what's the word, like connect to it, relate to it in the same sort of way. So I think it's a really good. I just think it's a good. He's got a great platform and he's using it really well. And in terms of the first half of it, I think the first verse, I'm not even gonna lie, it sounds fucking weird, but I think it works really well because 99 Problems did the exact same thing. In the first verse, he's a stereotypical racist white cop. That's the perspective he's rapping from, and that's why he raps in that voice. Because Hove does the exact same thing on 99 Problems. If you listen to the verse, I'm not looking at the camera at all, sorry, because it's down here, it's underneath my monitor, and I'm obviously looking at the lyrics. Hove, which is why I said just put this on in the background, is it the second verse? It's the second verse of 99 Problems when he's rapping. He's doing the dialogue between, I guess, himself and the white cop. He puts on the voice of like a stereotypical racist white cop. That's what M's doing here, and I think he does a great job of it. The hook, I feel like you can have your opinion on anything, obviously, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but the hook very much is a bit divisive. I love the hook, I'm super into it, it's really catchy. And then in the second verse, there's the bit where he's the cop again, and then it like switches over a little bit, the beat switches and the way rap switches. Again, I can understand why people are saying it's all over the place based on that. I fuck with it. Number 5, River. So this is where the album was like kicked off for me, because obviously I knew Walk on Water, I knew Untouchable, which were tracks 1 and 4, and then 2 and 3 I didn't really like on my first listen, so I was like kind of comprehensive. Based on Untouchable, I thought the album was going to be like, okay, this is very new. This is a new style, this is a new thing for M. The album's going to be different. But then, as it went on, from River onwards, I was like, no, this is M. Untouchable was a bit standout for that, but River, dude, I fuck with River so much. This is one of the ones that has more than 3 listens, because I had to run this back like 3 or 4 times. It's got Ed Sheeran in it, which is crazy. It was co-produced by Ed Sheeran and Emil Haney, who did Guts Over Fear, he did Legacy, he did Headlights, he did Beautiful Pain. So he's done a lot of songs with them in the past. He also did Untouchable. I think he co-produced Untouchable, which actually Rick Rubin didn't produce. There's a lot of people saying Rick Rubin produced that, but he didn't, according to Genius anyway. But I'm sure he had some involvement with it. But yeah, so this song, when I first saw the track list, this was the one song that I looked at and was like, I just can't imagine how this is gonna work. I just couldn't picture it, but like the second I listened to it, I was just like, oh, there it is. I get it now. This is a really good song, and it's funny because I don't remember who it was. It was like Lad Bible or Unilad, which is like this English, British Facebook page. They do like funny videos and articles and stuff, and like, look at this pizza. It's a pizza, but there's 2 pizzas on top of each other, and there's a big burger patty in between the pizzas. They do like videos like that, random videos, but they're quite popular. I know they are over in America as well, but they're, English companies set up the pages over here. They did a random article. One of them 2 did a random article months ago, and it was like Ed Sheeran rumoured to be collaborating with Eminem on his new album, and I was like, oh, I don't understand how that's going to work, but I can see it. I can feel that it will work. I don't doubt that it'll work. Clicked on the article, and the article was basically, okay, not actually, but like, imagine if he did, though. And I was like, okay, so it was fake news, basically. Funnily enough, he's on the album, and it's really good. So, again, it has a point. It's got a message. It's the whole abusive, not, this one, okay, this one isn't necessarily an abusive relationship, but it's the guy's, I can't really tell. It's weird, because it's hard to tell sometimes with them what's experience and real story versus what's fictional story. So, for example, something like Spacebound, fictional for the song. Something like Kim, fictional. Something like, I'm trying to come up with examples. Die Alone, maybe. Real, talking from a personal standpoint. Or, for example, something like on this album, track 12, track 10, Bad Husband, again, real. He's talking from his experience, he's talking about real things that happened in his life, he's reflecting on real shit, his real thoughts. Then you get songs like this one, The first one, he's coming home with his neck scratched to catch flack. He's coming home. He's like telling a story. This relationship that has issues. One's cheating on the other. They're always fighting. But then as it comes to the end of it, it's like he switches to his perspective. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Hey, fuck can I say? If life was a highway, the seat was an enclave, I'd be swerving in 5 lanes. Speeds at a high rate, like I'm sliding on ice maybe. That's why I may have come at you sideways. I can't keep my lies straight, but I've made you terminate my baby. This love triangle left us in a wrecked tangle. What else can I say? It was fun for a while, but I really would have loved your smile. Didn't really want to abort, but fuck it. What's one more lie to tell an unborn child? It switches perspective. It goes from third person to first person. And this whole thing of, I really would have loved your smile, didn't really want to abort, but fuck it, what's one more lie to an unborn child? Where did that come from? Where in the first any of this was he talking about the abortion? Or maybe a little bit. Detergent and bleach is burned in the womb, because now with her in the womb, we can't bring her into this world. Should have knew to use protection for a bitten teeth, forbidden fruit. So, okay. I think this is why you need to wait for the big one, the main video, because I'm still wrapping my head around a lot of this stuff. Third person, first verse, second verse is sort of is he, and then halfway through it becomes I. So I don't know whose perspective this is wrapping on, because he says he, but then it's not the woman's perspective. So I don't know how, if it's sort of, it might actually just be, the song might just be like a mess. It might just be an issue with the song. It might just be a problem with the writing. But at the same time, I think I'm just not getting it yet. It's definitely the most popular song on the album so far, apart from the singles. Already just on page views on Genius, I can tell it's like 50,000 above Believe, which is second. But then it's gonna be, it's got Ed Sheeran in it and he's massive. Yeah, I'm not sure I get it yet, but it's still left a fucking impact. I need to run this back like 5 more times before I'm going to get this, I think. I don't know if ever had a pregnant partner, or I don't know if this is all the story, but it's deep as shit. And also interesting for Ed Sheeran to touch in on this one of abortion, because he had that song, I think it was called Small Bump, and it was about, he had a really good friend who had a baby, she was pregnant, and then she lost the child. She miscarried the child, and that was obviously like a really tough situation for Ed to go through, because it was like his really close friend. So it was interesting for Ed to jump in on this track, knowing that ultimately it was about abortion, or ultimately it was about a relationship that, because of the relationship, the abortion was the consequence of that, which was interesting. Remind me, Ed Sheeran fucking killed it though. I fuck with Ed Sheeran. I've not listened to Divide. I've probably heard all of it a bit at a time, but I've never sat down and listened to Divide. I don't really know most of the lyrics, but I really like it when I hear it. I like Ed Sheeran. Remind Me, intro. It's a fucking intro. I don't know who's singing this, but I haven't really sat down and like properly listened to it that much, because it's really short anyway. But it was produced by 2 people. It was produced by four people? How does that happen? It's the intro to Remind Me, which got some mixed opinions. This is a very M song. A lot of the way he's rapping, a lot of the punchlines on it are very M. And it's also very rock and roll influence. Obviously, the song samples I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. And I don't know how much of it's sample and how much of it just is straight instrumental. So In Your Head, for example, samples Zombie by the Cranberries. That pretty much does just sample it in the hook, and then most of the rest of it's produced to fit the hook. This one is pretty much like the instrumental of the original song, with a little bit of editing probably to suit it. Was produced by Rick Rubin though, which is fucking awesome, because Rick Rubin is a legend, and a lot of people, I've seen people saying get him away from M for future projects. I've seen people saying that he's not supposed to be a hip hop producer. I like it, because I know that M has a lot of rock influences. I know that M's a big rock fan, and I think that what he's done works. He did 99 Problems, he did Berserk and Love Game last time, and So Far as well. I closed the tab, I didn't mean to close it, it's okay, I've got it open. He's a cool guy, and I think it works well when they get the right song going, and I think this song works. A lot of people didn't like the whole, I love you, because you remind me of me. It sort of doesn't really fit the I love rock and roll you. I think it fit though, I really liked it. It's just very M. The punchlines in it, I've already said this. There was a bit of a weak line. The first 2 lines on the couplet at the start of the verse 2. I'm looking at your tight rear like a sightseer. Your booty is heavy duty like diarrhea. I don't mind it, because it's M, and I think he says shit like this sometimes. He says stupid shit. I know CDTV Productions didn't like this. He tweeted specifically about this line, saying that it's stupid. And he's like, if you ever have a punchline that has the word diarrhea in it, it's literally and figuratively stupid. No, literally and figuratively shit, he said, because shit diarrhea. I don't mind it. It's M. The song is M. We need to speed it up now. I've got like 5 minutes and I'm not even halfway through the album. I did like that one though. Revival, Interlude. I don't really get it. We'll come back to that one on the full review. Alice in the Glass Lake. I don't know who they are either. Like Home. Woo! I do like this one. I don't really know Alicia Keys' music that well. I mean, she's a popular artist, so I've heard a couple of her songs here or there. Obviously, Empire State of Mind. I know Fireworks as well. On Drake's album. Thank Me Later, it's on, I think. Girl on Fire, I know. Oh, If I Ain't Got You. Okay, so I know a couple songs here or there. Just Blaze produced this, obviously he did No Love. And he's done works on Cold and Blows, Touch the Sky, Psychopath Killer, which is a crazy song, a really good song from shady.sr back in 2014. Yeah, this one is about Trump, and honestly, we knew this sort of song was coming based on campaign speech, based on what he said on No Favours, based on the BET Cypher freestyle. We knew that the album was going to have songs like this. Obviously, Untouchable was more about police brutality and racism as a whole. This one was more specifically about Trump and political matters surrounding like what he's done. And I think it was really good, because I was worried that he was going to maybe overkill it a bit, and he was going to have songs and songs and songs that were politically fueled, and that were against Trump and stuff. But actually, this was pretty much the only one specifically about Trump, and I think he killed it. I think it was a really good song. I think he covered everything really well. He just made point to point to point. He went to everything. I think he just really went in on Trump. Obviously, I'm English, so I don't necessarily have the same sort of... Like, I'm not going to go and say, oh, I fucking hate Trump. I don't support him. In fact, I do quite strongly dislike him, but not necessarily... Like, I'm English. I'm not American, so it's... You know, I have my own piece of shit political leader to worry about over here, so I don't necessarily have that against Trump, but this was really good, especially when you compare it to the main song against Bush. Obviously, when he rapped against Bush in what am I saying? I don't want to say Mosh. What was the other one? Oh, White America. What was the song? I forget the name of it. I don't rap for dead presidents. I'd rather see the president dead. It's never been said, but I set precedents. I forgot. I'm blanking on the name of it. We as Americans. He said that, and then obviously there was Mosh. Mosh was the one song that was all about standing up against Bush. When you compare this to Mosh, I like Mosh. I like the vibe to it. Lyrically, it wasn't the best, although it was encore period, so it was a bit fucked up. This one, though, he went in, he did a really good job. It was the chorus was like fully annotated, and the annotation just disappeared in front of my eyes. So I think the mods must be reviewing stuff at the moment, because it just got completely dull. I just watched the annotation just like disappear. It was lyrically strong. The hook was so good, dude. It's so catchy. Like I said, I'm not hugely familiar with Alicia Keys, but that hook, woo! I've got a good feeling about that. I listened to it, got a good vibe. If it's not necessarily a good vibe song, another annotation just disappeared in front of my eyes. I just really like this one. It was a lot of production went into this one. It was a really big theatrical, cinematic song. Cinematic doesn't really make sense, but it was a really good song. I really like this one. Really made me feel good after listening to it, which was not the same feeling I had after the second song. I'm going to have to stop the recording because I'm running out of time. Let me try and switch my SD card over to the other one, and I might just carry on. Okay, so I found out, first of all, I didn't even have an SD card in my camera apparently. It was recording to my storage. I opened it up and went to switch my SD card out, and it was just empty. So I put a new one in, but I'm not going to be talking too much longer anyway. Other thing I found out, my mic hasn't been recording this whole time. I opened up Audacity just to check what the time of the recording was at, and it just wasn't recording. So I don't have time to re-record this, and I do still want to put it out. It's an extra channel video anyway. It doesn't really matter if it doesn't sound too great. I'm not too fussed, but I'll switch over to my mic now if that's any consolation. Okay, track 10. I'm going to start going through them more quickly because it just turned half one and I want to leave at 2. So we need to get through this. Track 10, Bad Husband. This one was essentially what I felt anyway was like the headlights, except to Kim. Finally, this was the apology. I feel like he's been getting there. He did Die Alone on shady.sr, which was about how he was like missing her and stuff. But you know, wasn't really. He didn't even name drop her then. It wasn't really definitely to her. But this one, finally, I feel like was the one. It's the closest thing he's had to a positive song to Kim since Mockingbird, really. And he does mention Mockingbird, but I just heard Mockingbird. But I just heard Mockingbird and got the urge to jot some verses and thoughts. The purpose was not to stir up or open new wounds. I've caused and got a few, and so have you. Or argue whose fault it was. Partly yours, partly mine. I think the lyrics are wrong on Genius here. But yeah, this was basically Headlights. He reflected way back on their life when they used to fight and stuff. He admitted to the mistakes he's made with fighting her back and all that. He talks about when she went to prison briefly, which was for something drug charge, cocaine or something like that. Failing to remain in a court-ordered drug treatment program. So she was in jail, not prison. So she probably wasn't, I don't know how long she was there. I didn't really know that much about this. I just know that she tried to kill herself like 2 years ago, and that's the last well, this was like 2004 it said, but the last I'd have heard of from Kim was like a year and a half ago. I think it was like early 2016, late 2015, something like that. She like swerved a car off the road to try and kill herself, and then ended up having to go to court over it because it was dangerous driving or something like that. I don't know, it was stupid, but and she was like really apologetic over it and was like, actually, I've changed my mind, I don't really want to die. This was Headlights to Kim. Ex-Ambassadors did a really good job. I really like Wicked Ways, it's a really good song, but this one, it was cool because Wicked Ways is obviously a less serious song. It was just more a bit of just a fun one, braggadocious sort of song, but this one was a bit more serious, and I think they did a great job of getting the vibe right, and I just think they did a great job with it. I don't know who wrote the Ex-Ambassadors. Apparently wrote the hook, so that's pretty cool as well. It was written by Alex the Kid, Eminem, and Ex-Ambassadors, so I don't know who specifically wrote the hook, but I assume it was them. But that's really cool. Yeah, they did a great job with this. They both did a great job with this. Ex-Ambassadors already, I think, work well with them. Obviously, like I said, I like Wicked Ways. Yeah, I fuck with this song. I don't have a ton to say about it. I'll probably come back to this one a little bit more later on, in the next video. I did like the Haley sample from My Dad's Going Crazy. Tragic Endings. I really fuck with Skylar Grey. I think Skylar Grey is hugely underrated. And she did great on this one. I'm glad she got a feature because she wrote quite a lot on this album. Obviously, she wrote Walk on Water, but she wrote... What else did she contribute to? Nowhere Fast, I think. And maybe Like Home as well were the ones that she helped write. Or just wrote, because she just straight up wrote Walk on Water anyway. She obviously wrote her stuff on this one. Yeah, this one was really good. It was... So I know a lot of people have had issues with no rap features, except Fresher, sort of. Although he wasn't really rapping, he did the hook. But this, maybe I just like the poppy stuff more than I think. I like the hooks, because I mostly just listen to hip-hop, but I have a wide taste, even though when I'm listening to music it's probably hip-hop, I do have a wide taste. So I like mixing other stuff into hip-hop. Which is why I really like good hooks. It's why I really like samples. So like In Your Head is one of my favourite songs in the album. I really like Zombie. So I do quite like it. I do really like Skylar Grey. I don't understand how people could not. Like, when people were looking at it being like, I don't understand why there's so many pop things, he's turned into a pop artist. Love the Way You Lie was huge and it was a great song. The Monster is such a good song. I know I talked about it before, but The Monster still gets me emotional. It'll put me in front of a monitor with some headphones on, and my eyes they're gonna be wetter than they were before. I'll tell you that much, because I'm ready to ball for a crawl for your ball. I got the lyrics wrong. It doesn't matter. Didn't really fit anyway. The point is, I think that there's never been a bad collaboration between Em and Skylar Grey. Twisted is a really good song. I Need a Doctor is a really good song. Asshole, really good song. Obviously, she wrote Love the Way You Lie, the chorus for it. Kill for You, Come on Let Me Ride. Come on. The bar is really high for Skylar Grey and Eminem collaborations, and this one was definitely on par with The Bar. This one was really good. I really like it. Again, this is another one about an unhealthy relationship. This one's actually about. This one is from the perspective of the guy consistently. This is a story. This isn't M. This is similar to, as I mentioned, Love the Way You Lie and Spacebound. Except it's interesting that he's actually switched it, because the thing is, both Love the Way You Lie and Love the Way You Lie wasn't necessarily an abusive relationship. It was just like a not a great relationship. It was a little bit toxic. Spacebound, on the other hand, that was the violence was by the guy's hand. Obviously, things were going a bit south. She ended up breaking up. He still loved her, so he killed them both at the end of it. But this one was different because, first of all, the whole thing was an abusive relationship. It wasn't just kind of a toxic relationship. It wasn't just abusive at the end. The whole thing was an abusive relationship, and it was the woman mentally abusing the guy, not really physically until the very end when she attempts to kill him, kills him, doesn't really say, attempts to kill him anyway. Probably kills him. He might get out of the car, I don't know. But, yeah, this one was really interesting because it just talks about... It's like with everybody when he was talking about, like, oh, the subject on this album that other people aren't talking about. It's like that. You don't really hear a lot about, here's a rap song about an abusive relationship. Here's a rap song about a guy being stuck in an abusive relationship and being abused by the hand of a woman. Because it's not hip-hop. People aren't going to... People, old hip-hop heads don't respect that sort of stuff. Well, I don't want to generalise, but a lot of the time, it's when you think of hip-hop, and this is generalising, but when you think of hip-hop, that's not a hip-hop thing to do. And there was a breakdown on it a while ago. It was the one about emo rap. When Murs was like... I blanked on his name then. When Murs was like, people don't really like it a lot of the time, emo rap, because people don't like letting emotions come into hip-hop, because that's not what it's about. That's not hardcore. But at this point, he's not about that. He's not got anything left to prove. He's good. He's set in life. He's ready to talk about what's in his mind and talk about important issues. Not that he hadn't done that in the past, but this is definitely one that was it had an impact. It had on me as a listener. It had a good feeling about it, because it's a good message, and it really gets you thinking about stuff that you might not have otherwise thought of. And it gives you a perspective as well, because it's from the perspective of someone in that relationship. Now, I'm not saying M's necessarily been in that situation, but he's had, mostly with Kim, bad relationships. Obviously, there was the stuff with his mum as well, when she treated him like shit most of his growing up, so I guess he could speak from that a little bit, and a bit from his relationship with Kim, and maybe with other people as well. We don't really know everything about some of his other relationships. We mostly just know about, obviously, Kim, which is highly public, which is spoken about in Castle. And his relationship with Mariah as well, which fuck knows what really happened there. But yeah, I think this is a really good song. It's really easy to follow. It tells a story really well, but it's not... Sometimes if you're trying to tell a story, it's hard to also make it sound good and flow. Obviously, in songs like this, it's not about being like really lyrical, but he's still done a great job of making it sound good. It's just a good rap, and it flows really well, and the rhyming scheme's good, and the delivery. I really like the song. One of my favourites on the album for sure. Top comment on Genius is reminds me of something off of Recovery. Second one is the flow is from Recovery. Fourth one, this song sounds very much like something would have been on Recovery. Fifth one, this sounds like it should have been on Recovery. Four of the 5 top comments on the Genius page are all about how it would have fit on Recovery. You're probably not wrong, but if it was on Recovery, it probably would have been too much on the same track. I really like it, because that's something people talking about, oh, he's fallen off because he's running out of things to rap about. It's the same sort of thing, but it's different, like I said. Well, I've already explained why it's different to Love the Way You Lie and Spacebound. I think it's really good. Speaking of songs that belong in other albums, I don't understand Framed at all. This is probably maybe this is my least favourite song on the album. I'm just going to come up and say it. Fred Wreck produced it. I've honestly never heard of him. He's not hugely popular from what I can tell from his Genius page. Framed is his most popular song already. So in the interview that M did about a week ago with Elton John, he talked about how whenever he's doing an album, he makes like 50 songs, because not every song's going to be great. Some of them might even be shit. So this way, he produces songs, and then he can choose the songs that are good and the ones that he wants to fit on the final album, and he can really get a good track list. I honestly don't really know, after all that's been said and done to do the relapse, I don't really know how this one made the cut. Especially after Evil Twin as well. Like, this is very shady, and I thought this was in the past now. I don't necessarily have an issue with it, but it's like the description says on Genius, he's released quite a few horrorcore rap songs throughout his career, most notably 3am, blah blah blah. The beat, as well as M's tone on Framed, feels of his 2009 Relapse era. This would be right at home on Relapse. Like it said, the beat and the lyrics, even the way he's rapping on it. I don't know if he just still likes horrorcore. Is it stuff deep down? Obviously he does, because he wouldn't have done that sort of stuff in the first place if he didn't like horrorcore a bit. So obviously he's into it. But it's weird that he's still doing it. It's not one of the main songs on the album. It's just another song on the album. So I don't think it really matters too much. It is just one song, but at the same time, that maybe makes it even a little bit worse, because it just sticks out a little bit. Definitely my least favourite song on the album. At least he didn't have the accent, which is a good segue into the next song. No, it isn't. It's the song after. Yeah, I will speak more about it on my longer video. To be fair, it wasn't a bad song. There's some nice little bits of lyricism. Still on the loose day, spotted me inside of McDonald's Tuesday in Toronto Blue Jays cap, looking like your college roommate, with Rihanna, Lupe, Saddam Hussein, Bobby Boucher, or was it Cool J? The cops is on a goose chase. Little bit of it. I've heard it like 3 times, so I don't remember exactly how he delivered it. He delivered it better than I just did, but it's a good song. I just don't necessarily think it fit on this album, and it was definitely the weaker one of the album as well, which maybe made it even worse. Not just the fact that it didn't fit, but also it was probably just one of the weaker ones on the album. Definitely stood out like a sore thumb. Also, interesting as well, the line, just escaped from the state pen for raping 8 women who hate men. It censors raping, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, because 2017, you know what people are like sometimes, censoring it, fair enough. Weird that on a song like this, after all that's been said, he's chosen to censor that line. But then, I think, is it on Offended? There's a line on one of the songs after this, he uses the word rape, and it isn't, not only is it not censored, but it's exaggerated. He goes, rape, and it's like, it's layered, like you hear, I just spat, that was a tiny little bit, I don't know if you could even see it, but I was grim. It's because I need a drink. I've been talking for too long and I left my Fanta downstairs. Yeah, it's weird. When I first heard it, I was like, fair enough, censoring it. He censored stuff in the past when he's had to. My lawyer, Fred Gibson, obviously Fred Gibson was censored because it was mid-case. You can't be talking mad shit about your your opposition's lawyer. There's stuff been censored. Obviously, originally on the Rap God line, I'm so tired, by the way. The Rap God line, took 7 kids from Columbine and stood them all in a line. Took an AK-47, a revolver, a 9, a Mac 11. And it ought to solve a little problem of mine, and that's a whole school of bullies shut up at the same time. I got there in the end. That's on I'm Back, and obviously on I'm Back, it was censored because it was like less than a year after the Columbine shooting. Fair enough. Things have been censored, so I could understand censoring the word raping with all this shit going on at the moment. There's all of the, you know, the people coming out and saying of all like the actors and Harvey Weinstein, all these people out there who have been getting these allegations against him now. Now is the time for people coming forward and saying about, you know, people are finally coming together to talk about you know, sexual predators in these industries and stuff. So now it's definitely a risky time to be bringing that in, so I could understand censoring it, but then he uses it again later on. I don't know if that they just accidentally did it. I don't know if it was different people mixing, mastering, producing the different songs, so maybe one person had the initiative to censor it, the other one didn't. They didn't really think about it. I feel like that's not the case. I feel like that sort of thing wouldn't have gone through unnoticed. I feel like someone like Paul would have noticed it. A lot of people would have heard this album before it came out, in terms of people working on it. Someone would have picked up on it, so I feel like it wasn't a mistake. Maybe it was. Maybe they just accidentally didn't censor the other one. Maybe because of the emphasis on it, it didn't really work to censor it. Maybe they thought people would be more likely to hear Framed than the other one. Doesn't make much sense. I feel like that's going to be one of the least popular songs on the album. But anyway, let's shoot on to Nowhere Fast. Again, a really good song. Kalani did the song Feel with Post Malone, and that's the first time I'd heard of her. I haven't really listened to her music beyond that, I'll be honest, although I feel like after Feel and after this, I probably will. She did a couple of songs with G-Eazy. Obviously, G-Eazy's album came out the same day as Revival, so that's... I feel like we see where her allegiance is. But anyway, yeah, good song. I like it. It's kind of guts over theory. It covers a few things. It talks about where he feels he is with his career, where it talks about rap currently and where things are at with that, and where the youth are at the moment. This one is 100% one I need to come back to. I've not listened to this one again since, obviously this is one of the ones I've heard 3 times because I've listened to the album 3 times. I've not really listened to this one, but it's one of those ones. Framed I've listened to 3 times. You get the point. You get the gist of it. This one, it's a bit more lyrical. There's a bit more stronger content to it. So this is definitely one I need to re-listen to. Interesting enough though, produced by Hit Boy and Rock Mafia. Hit Boy, obviously we know Backseat Freestyle, In Paris, Click, and we know Hit Boy killing everything from Pussy to a motherfucking Hit Boy beat. Rock Mafia, never heard of him or them in my life. Clicked on them, popular Rock Mafia songs. All Selena Gomez except one, which is Z. Rock Mafia apparently produces Selena Gomez a lot. Funnily enough, also produced the song Revival by Selena Gomez. I don't really know how that happened. It's he produces loads for Selena Gomez, and somehow ended up producing an Eminem song. But it works. That's just his most popular songs. I don't know if he's also done some other hip hop songs in the past, but yeah, for some reason I just don't know how that. It just surprised me. I was like, who's that? I've not heard of him. Jay Sean apparently produced for. Yeah, Nowhere Fast is definitely going to be one of his most popular songs. It's already, like, up there. And it's been out for, like, 5 hours. Like, 9 hours. Fly on the Wall by Miley Cyrus. Demi Lovato. Lindsay Sterling. Miley Cyrus. Loads of, like, older Miley Cyrus songs. Selena Gomez. Aloe Black. Yeah, I genuinely don't know how this happened. But fuck it, it works. I'm into it. Let's move on. And then Hit Boy as well. Hit Boy and... It's cool that Hit Boy is got some production on the album, but with this Rock Mafia. Obviously, I don't know what the balance is. Maybe Hit Boy made most of it. Rock Mafia just chimed in. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe they were equal. I don't know. I'm trying to speed it up because I've got 13 minutes and then I need to be leaving. Heat. Not one of the standout songs of the album. Produced by Rick Rubin, which is really cool. Has the line, "Lady, you remind me of my raps on that relapse shit because you got an ass as thick as them accents." That's the line I was referring to before when we were talking about Framed. Heat and Offended, I'll bundle together. Very shady XV songs, I feel like they'd fit right at home. Or MMLP2. And this is why I didn't necessarily think that Chloroceptic and Believe, I didn't think the reason why I didn't really like them is because they were more rap, and I've not got time for them to settle in yet. Because these 2 songs, rap, short chorus, rap, short chorus, and then Offended has a slightly longer chorus, but it's M, and he's still rhyming on it. But these songs I did really like. I feel like Believe and Chloroceptic, it was just they were simpler beats and simpler delivery, so they didn't stand out to me enough yet. I need to listen to the lyrics properly, whereas this one had the catchiness to it and the good vibe to it that it caught out. It was very much like Shady XV, the title track, very much like So Far and Love Game with that sort of delivery, which makes sense because obviously Rick Rubin produced this, and also he produced So Far and Love Game. Actually, who produced Shady XV? I don't know. My keyboard isn't handy. I'm curious. I'll check it. I'll check while I'm talking. But yeah, so it was rap, but it was catchy. Again, very M, and this is what I mean when I was saying about Untouchable, how it was going to be a different sound. It was going to be not something that we're used to. No, this sort of song you could see coming a mile away based on MMLP2 and based on it doesn't say who produced it. Yeah, it straight up just doesn't say. It says written, label, release date. It's got samples. I actually have no idea then. Maybe Rick Rubin did produce it and it's just not on Genius, because I guess that would explain it. But I have no idea who produced Shady XV then. If anyone knows, leave a comment, or that anyone's watching this. But anyway, yeah, so this song is it's really cool. I like it. It's Heat and Offended. He definitely has the most like corny punchlines. Some people didn't like that. I like it because it was only one song. You've got to let him just be M for a bit. He fucks around on his songs sometimes. Just let him do it. My girlfriend just messaged me asking me if I'm on the way. Not quite. Let M be M sometimes. Again, Offended, it's M being M. Need Me. This one was a bit weird. This one almost feels like it would have fit better on Beautiful Tragedy, because M doesn't come in until 2 minutes 20. He overlays a bit on the Pink's verse, the second verse. This was very different from Won't Back Down, where it was 3 verses of solid rapping plus a bit of a hook. in between each one. This was verse 1, pink, hook, pink. Verse 2, pink with M doing some overlays, hook, pink. Verse 3, M, hook, pink. Having said that, it's a really good song, actually. I think this would almost have fit better on Beautiful Tragedy. I've not listened to the whole album. I've listened to, obviously, M's song, and I've listened to all the singles, but Revenge. But obviously, after listening to the singles, I feel like this one more suits the singles on that album than Revenge did. This would have fit on Beautiful Tragedy, is what I'm saying. But it's a great song. It's something different. It's cool they've done something different versus Won't Back Down. I did think Won't Back Down was a really good song, but yeah, this was one of the more poppy songs. It'll be interesting to see what the general consensus is when I come back to it, but I liked it. I definitely liked it. More about relationships, though, about someone cheating on someone and he's saying, oh, I think you need me. That's what the chorus is, and I'm starting to think maybe you need me, maybe you need me, maybe you need me. I'll come back to it. Some lyrics get to. The last 3 songs, really like them all. Probably have less to say, which is good because I've got 4 minutes left I can only do 25-minute videos at a time for some reason. So I've got 4 minutes left and I want to finish it. Really like this. I really like Zombie. The beat is really good. Scram Jones, whoever the fuck that is, I don't have a clue. Scram Jones, though, did a great job with it. He's done some stuff with Slaughterhouse. Immortal Technique. Lloyd Banks, but nothing big. This is already his biggest song. Jadakiss. So linked artists. Yeah, though this it was just really good. It again, another reflective one. He rapped a lot about the issues in his life, his regrets. The song is about his regrets is the word that Genius used, and that's correct. He also mentioned he's frustrated with his Slim Shady persona. He mentioned that it was supposed to just be like an evil get funny side of him, but he maybe went too far for it. He used it at the wrong times. Framed. But yeah, this is one that I'll come back to. Same with Castle and a Rose. I'll talk a lot more on these on the full thing when I have my full opinions on them. It was really good though. I like it. Castle, a Rose. I'll talk them together because they're essentially the same song. Castle is a letters to Hayley. There's a letter to her before she's born, a letter to her a year after she's born, and a letter to her. This is the first time he's really reflected on his when he nearly died. There was going through changes was the closest I think he's come to properly talking about that. But in the third verse of this, he's talking about when he was like dying, when he was nearly. Was it this one? No, that's a Rose. That's a Rose he's talking about. That these songs. So if you don't know, a Rose is basically part 2 of Castle. Castle ends and then leads into a Rose. And then towards the end of a Rose, he says to rewrite a mistake, I'm rewinding this tape. It then rewinds and then goes back to the last verse of Castle where it's changed. So they're essentially the same song. But yeah, Letters to Hayley. Again, it's sort of like Headlights, but to Hayley. Talks about the issues of bringing her up publicly. Obviously, you get the letter before she's born about how he's trying really hard. The letter just after he's born talks about infinite flopping and the issues he was having at the time. And then 2007, you really get to hear a side of him that we've not heard before. We've never really heard him talking about. We've obviously heard him apologising to Hayley, but that's usually because of him being crazy and like his drug issues and stuff. But this one, he talks about how like the fame and stuff, and he's like he what the fame did to her, and how he was saying, I never knew it'd be like this. If I didn't, I wouldn't have done it. You ain't asked for none of this shit. Now you're being punished. Things that should have been private with me and your mother is public. I can't stomach it. They can take this fame back. I don't want it. It's just what he's talking about. Right, let's wrap it up. I want to restart the recording again. This was interesting just because it was new. We've not heard really rap to Hayley before. Well, obviously there was Hayley's song, but like this was really reflective. And I'd love to know her opinion on it. She's 22 now. This is really reflective. It really raps about, you know, the issues she's had to deal with. I think a lot of people, when you think about a lot of people don't think about the issues that his daughters had because of his career, you know. Oh, it's produced by DJ Khalil, who produced Black Spider-Man, as well as some other stuff like 25 to Life and Went Back Down and stuff. Anyway, it was new shit, and it was interesting. It was just a whole new perspective that most people won't have ever really thought about, including myself even. So that was really good. Like I said, a Rose, he talks about when he was dying. Nurses lean over the bed, pulling tubes out, the sheets over my head, shut the room down. Girls, please don't get upset. I see them cheeks soaking wet as they squeeze hold of my neck so forcibly. Don't want to let me go. Pillow drenched, emotional wrecks. Blah, 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 blah. With each second closer to death, but suddenly I feel my heart begin to slow, then a breath, machines go, beep, 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 and he's back to life. This is when he was real, and I'm going to talk about this so much more when I talk about my overall opinion on the album in a couple of months. This is the realest he's got with his situation. He's talked about it before, obviously. He's talked about it lightheartedly on things like Cinderella Man, but like, it was fucking deep and it was emotional. Definitely the most emotional song on the album, in my opinion, and the comments on Genius seem to agree. Represent Genius, check my profile down in the description. And then he comes back to life to rewrite a mistake and rewinding this tape. He comes back saying, from I Don't Want It, so talking about his career in Castle, and then he's like, at the end of Castle, he basically talks about how he's like, this is it, after this album I'm finishing. I put out this last album, then I'm done with it, 100% finished, fed up with it, I'm hanging it up, fuck it, excuse the cursing baby, just know I'm a good person, blah blah blah, I'm sliding down a slippery slope. Anyway, sweetie, I better go, I'm getting sleepy, love dad, shit, I don't know. He then takes the pills, you hear him fall, and then it goes into him being in the hospital in A Rose. He does A Rose, part 2, Castle Extended, rewind. I'm about to do a rematch. I'm about to, like a rematch, outdo Relapse with Recovery, Mathers LP2, help propel me to victory laps. Less than 2 hours. Now a new day's dawning, I'm up Tuesday's morning. And then at the end of it, it finishes. You hear a toilet flush. He flushes his pills down the toilet instead of taking him. I'm getting I'm getting emotional. I really love these songs. It's like Bad Guy almost, but he's never reflected like this. Going through changes gets me mad emotional. Bad Guy gets me mad emotional. He's never gone into this much detail with his reflection, and obviously it's to Hayley, and it really makes it sink in how much he loves Hayley, how and obviously Whitney and Elena, and you know how grateful he is to be here. And he doesn't give a fuck about what anyone's saying anymore. He's making his music how he wants to make it, and because he wants to fucking do his music. He said it so many times, he's not retiring. He's not gonna fucking retire. He's gonna keep putting shit out, and no matter what people say, he's gonna put out what the fuck he wants to put out. And it was just crazy to hear this and be like I think, especially since it ended the album, because it's always good to end an album on a situation like this, because it's like when you get a really heavy end to a song, a hard-hitting end to a song, and it goes into the next song, you don't really have the time to reflect on it. But this one, Toilet Flush, you've had these two songs together with a really powerful message, really well written, like fucking MMLP/Tez level of storytelling, and he finishes off the album. I just got an upvote and an annotation. It's just a great, and then it finishes, and you just sat there like, shit, dude, fucking really good. I honestly, I don't, after Believe Chloroseptic, I was worried. The album kicked off after River, I was really fucking with it. In Your Head was really good. Castle and A Rose, it actually blew part of my brain out of my head. I don't know, I've not found it yet. It's somewhere around here. Crazy shit. I love that so much, and I'll talk about it in so much more detail on my full detail video. For now though, that was my first impressions on Revival after 3 full listens, as well as some extra listens to some of my favourite songs. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go and journey over to my girlfriend's. I'm going to listen to it again on the bus journey, because it's about, the album's like an hour and 17 minutes. 37 seconds. And the journey's about an hour, so I'll get most of it. Listen to it again. Thank you for watching, if you did. If you didn't, probably no one did. This was mostly for my personal reflection, because I feel like my opinions will change, and I poked myself in the eye, why did I do that? Will change and develop as time goes on, so it'll be interesting to look back on this. I won't, because it's an hour long. Well, it's not an hour long, it's like 50 minutes, but thank you for watching. Overall, I was very pleasantly surprised. I'd still believe, like it says in the second track, I was never gonna not like it. I was never worried, but I thought it was gonna be different based on how Untouchable came out. I was like, this is gonna be different to anything we've heard before, and fair enough. Like I said, he's got nothing left to prove. He's got nothing left to gain. He's doing it for the love of it now. He's doing what he wants to do, and if that means experimenting, this is a perfect time for him to experiment with new sounds, new styles. There was a hair floating around. And but then in the end, Untouchable was probably the weirdest song on the album in terms of steering away from styles that he's used to. A lot of development though, and he's come so far. I'm so proud of him. I can't wait for the album to come. It's coming on Monday. my girlfriend pre-ordered it for me, and as like a Christmas gift, an early Christmas gift. And they were like, it'll be delivered on release day. And then she got an email the day before release day saying it'll be delivered on Monday. So, but I'm looking forward to getting it. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. My name's Untouchable. Check my main channel out in the description for real content, and look forward to in a month or two when I do my real, no doubt way too in-depth, because this was a quick video. This was supposed to be a quick video. I rushed through so much. There was so much that I was going to say that I left out for the sake of speeding it up. Half the songs I didn't talk about as much as I wanted to. We're going to be here a while for the next video. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Peace. Go enjoy Revival. I'll link it in the description somehow. Peace out, guys.